sunny South Florida, and we're going to fillet aloe leaves. Come on, I'll show you how to do it. The first thing you want to do is make sure you have a good, healthy leaf to fillet. This is a Barbanensis Miller leaf, the most common kind and also the most nutritious. The particular variety is a Stockton variety, so it's a Barbanensis Miller Stockton. That happens to be the best kind of aloe leaf there is to fillet for the nutrition benefits that come from it. So we have a good leaf, we have a sharp knife, and a dull blade, and of course a cutting board to cut it on. What we're going to do is make a few cuts on the leaf. We're going to cut off both ends and these sharp little edges. And you're going to see something really neat here. In fact, let me use my sharp knife for this. I'm going to cut right here, and I'm going to do the same thing on this end. And now let's cut the edges off. I'll start on one end and just go all the way up. Now, one thing you might notice here is this yellow stuff that's starting to drip out all over the place. That's actually the part that you don't want. You don't want to consume that. It's known to be a laxative. Some people will consume that yellow stuff. In fact, if I had just a white towel here, let me see, perfect, thank you. You'll notice if I touch that to this little white towel, see how yellow that is? That's the stuff that you don't want to consume. We call it aloe, and it is a known laxative. It will run right through you if you have too much of it, of course. The stuff that we want is this nice clear gel from the inside of the leaf. That's where all the goodness is. So right now, this leaf is bleeding this yellow stuff all over me, and I want to get rid of that. I don't want it on my hands. I don't want it in my body. I'm going to take this leaf and rinse it in a bucket. In fact, I'm going to leave it in this bucket, and you'll notice already, just from that, you see how yellow that water is turning as this stuff is bleeding out of the leaf. Boy, I don't want that on my hands either. There we go. So we're going to let that sit in there for about 5 minutes. Well, it's been about 5 minutes since we cut the ends off that aloe leaf. As you can see, that water has turned, well, how do I say, it looks kind of like urine at this point. See, all of that aloe has been bleeding out of the leaf, and that's actually what a lot of people are putting into their bodies that we don't want. Now you see why we take the time to soak that leaf before we finish the fillet process. So come on, let's go finish this leaf off and get the goodness out of this leaf. So let me get some of these parts out of the way here. And I don't need that anymore. I'm going to take this knife, I don't need that knife anymore. I'm going to take the dull one, the dull blade, and use that to cut the edges of the leaf out. I find it easier to start on the small end here, and I just made a little cut in there, and I'm just going to push this blade all the way down and in the leaf, just like that. Now, one side is off. I missed a couple parts. We'll get those off. In fact, let me get them off right now. In fact, it might be easier for this if I go to the sharp knife to get those edges off. Sometimes that happens. This leaf was kind of rounded and a little more difficult to fillet. Whereas a flat leaf, you don't usually have to worry about that happening. So, get that last piece off. There we go. And let me get these pieces out of the way. You see that things are getting a little gooey. These are the mucopolysaccharides, and as gooey as they look, that's actually the good stuff. That's the stuff you do want. So let me put those parts down there. And so I'm just going to make that final cut now and give it a push all the way. Wow, this stuff is slippery. I'm just going to give it a push all the way down there. And you can see the fillet coming right off of the leaf. That is ready. That is your aloe gel that's going to go into the blender, in this case, turning it into a beverage that I can consume. Now, the reason that we filleted the leaf this way was to get rid of all of that outer leaf and the aloe. That happens to be the bitter stuff. At this point, I could take this leaf and rinse it. However, I did a pretty good job filleting it, so I'm just going to put this right in the blender. You can see it's definitely gooey. In fact, I almost need another hand here. It's so slippery. I'm going to put that in the blender and blend it up in my Vitamix. I like the Vitamix, by the way, because it has the variable speed, and you'll probably not want to blend this thing too fast, because if you put it on real fast, it's going to foam up. If it does foam up on you, don't worry. About 10 minutes, it'll settle down, and you'll actually have a nice aloe gel. Now, I could have taken that, I could have cut it up, and I could have put pieces on my salad, but I like to drink my aloe, and in this, when it's in the blender, we can add juice to it. We can do whatever we want. I like mine just plain aloe gel, run through the blender in my glass, drink it down. That's the way I do it here at Stockton Aloe One.